This just in! We have reports that the January 6th committee has a smoking gun testimony that proves President Trump committed crimes on January 6th. Trump will definitely be going to jail. This is a historic day. Cassidy Hutchinson has testimony that will send Trump to jail. She has first-hand accounts that Trump called for an insurrection. This is worse than Watergate, and we're 100% sure of that. Your grandchildren will know the name Cassidy Hutchinson. Bombshell testimony that Trump committed crimes on January 6th. This will be historic. Miss Meadows, leading up to January 6th, what did then acting White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows tell you? I remember going to Mr. Meadows' office and he was scrolling on his phone. And I said to him, I just had a very interesting conversation with Rudy. It sounds like we're going to the Capitol. And he said to me, I don't know, Cass, but there's a lot going on. Things might get real bad on January 6th. Could you tell us what President Trump meant when Mark Meadows said things might get real bad on January 6th? When Mr. Meadows told me that, what Trump was telling me directly is he wanted protesters to storm the Capitol and commit atrocious acts of violence. What type of violence was President Trump advocating for when Mark Meadows told you that? Stabbing people with bayonets. He wanted everyone to have very sharp bayonets on the end of handcrafted bamboo rods. It was very clear that he wanted them sharp and with serrated edges. And once the rioters had plunged the knife into their victims, he wanted them to do a twisting motion like this.
Stop it there. Welcome to Mika Reacts Reviews, where we react review to things on the internet. Same day, same shirt, different video. And today we are returning to Awaken with JP. He is consistent and persistent as hell. He is always spitting out those videos. And I'm pretty sure they take time. The costume, the scripting, the background, the green screen, all of the sort of facts that he's parroting or the facts that he's paraphrasing throughout the video has to also be correct. Different camera angles and a different editing. I'm pretty sure he hires people, but I am really impressed with how quickly he gets videos out and how much he's on top of current events. So I'm gonna be completely honest when it comes to this particular date that we're not supposed to really talk about on YouTube. I know he's talking about it. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut about that particular date, but you know what particular date I'm talking about. I haven't really been keeping up with the trials or really a lot of news media about it. I've heard things here and there. And the reason why is because I know nothing's gonna come out of this. This is Russiagate 2.5.0 or whatever. The amount of times they try to find something on Trump to keep him from running as president again, or when he was president to try to get him impeached. This is the 5th time, the 7th time they've tried to find something on him. I mean, he's been one of the most prosecuted and ganged up on president that we've ever had in the history of man. And it's so sad because who knows what he could have gotten done while he was president if they would have just cooperated instead of constantly going at his neck. And again, it's not because they care about the American people. It's because he's a Republican and they're Democrats and they want to keep the power on the liberal side. And I'm not a conservative and I'm not a Republican and I'm not on the Republican side either, but I'm just saying, like, they not doing this because they're actually afraid of Trump. They're doing it because they want you afraid of Trump because they don't want him to win again because he's a fucking bull in a china shop and he likes to fucking mess shit up, but in a good way, like in an exposing way, right? Not saying he's perfect, he's messed up a lot, but you know what I'm saying. So because of that, I haven't actually paid attention to most of it. I'm kind of just waiting towards the end when this turns out to be a fucking nothing burger. And they're most likely spending your tax money on this trial that's gonna turn out to be nothing. And plus, no one cares about this. This is not on the top of the list of the American people's agenda. No one gives a fuck. People want their gas prices to go down. People want inflation to go down. People want food shortages to stop. People want to feel safe and secure when it comes to finances or the economy. That is what people care about. No one gives a flying fuck about this particular date when people were stupid enough to go LARPing into a Washington building or Washington federal building. But they're still most likely spending your money to waste your time. Anyway, let's continue.
Ms. Hutchinson, Did President Trump ever tell you he was going to march to the Capitol? Yes. Kevin McCarthy said that to me. Could you tell us what President Trump was intending to do with the Capitol when Kevin McCarthy said that President Trump said he was going to march to the Capitol? What did he mean by march to the Capitol? He meant that he was going to go there to kill the vice president. We got him. And I think he succeeded in killing the vice president because he never went to the Capitol, and we haven't heard much from Mike Pence since. Your firsthand account of other people's firsthand accounts of President Trump, along with your precise interpretation, is all we need to lock him up for life and to prevent him from running for president in 2024. Ms. Hutchinson, do you have any other firsthand accounts of President Trump's criminal acts on January 6th? Yes, I do. Let's get into those. Did Rudy Giuliani ever suggest he was interested in receiving a presidential pardon for the acts surrounding January 6th? He did. Why? Because he knew he was part of seditious criminal acts. That's clearly the only reason why he wanted a pardon. The only other possible reason why he would want a presidential pardon is because he thought the political opposition would set up a big black flag operation to frame the events of January 6th to look like an insurrection. One where security guards would be instructed to let people into the Capitol, and the Speaker of the House would deliberately tell Capitol Police that extra officers would not be needed on that day. The FBI would have plainclothes agents acting as provocateurs in the crowd. They would illegally hold innocent people in jail for a year and a half. And then some sort of committee would be formed to propagandize and then investigate what they would call criminal activity on January 6th. And then Mr. Giuliani would be safe from that corrupt political persecution. But that would be far-fetched, and to my knowledge, no such committee exists. Therefore, it's clear that Rudy Giuliani wanted a pardon because he was guilty of criminal acts on January 6th. Ms. Hutchinson, all of us on the January 6th committee appreciate your brave testimony.
Stopping it there. All right, so this is the thing that YouTube policies, I believe, says we really can't discuss. Let's just say he's onto something with the whole Rudy Giuliani theory. And I love how he put, tell me your interpretation, because a lot of this is interpretation. And I think we've all watched Johnny Depp's and Amber Heard's trial long enough to know what hearsay is, and everything that this person has testified is hearsay. And I'm assuming that's what JP is doing. He's taking actual comments and actual events and actual facts, and he's paraphrasing it and parodying it, because that's kind of his MO. It's kind of like when Donald Trump says something like innocuous or just like neutral, and then the media goes, that was a dog whistle. It's like they want to interpret everything he says as nefarious or bad. I hope I used that word innocuous right. I don't think I did. Let me know in the comment section below. So this person heard hearsay from a second party over the phone. The person related to what Trump said to them over the phone, if this is an actual event. Even him saying this is what Trump told me is still hearsay. Unless you were on the phone with him on a second line, you are still trusting what he said Trump said. So it's still hearsay. And then you get in another witness from that hearsay spewing more hearsay through their own interpretation or their own biases or their own conception or perspective of what was happening. This would never actually last in any other court of law. This case would be completely dismissed. And the mainstream media is taking this stuff that is hearsay and just not provable or anything like that, and they're taking it and they're trying to make basically a mountain out of a molehill, which he was trying to display that idea in the beginning when he kept saying over and over again the different headlines that the news were saying, bigger than Watergate, your kids are going to be talking about this is going to go down in history. No one cares, okay? No one gives a fuck about this, all right? So let's just move the fuck on, but they're not going to because they're terrified of Trump running again. Anyway, let's continue.
Thank you. What other criminal acts did you see President Trump commit? I went into the dining room where I noticed the waitstaff changing a tablecloth. Then I looked over towards the fireplace and mantel. That's when I first noticed ketchup dripping down the wall. And just to be clear, The ketchup was still dripping at this point? It was. And then I noticed there was a shattered porcelain plate on the floor. The valet staff then indicated to me that President Trump got very angry while watching the Attorney General give an interview to the Associated Press, and he threw his lunch against the wall. Miss Hutchinson, did you taste the ketchup? I did. What did it taste like? Violence. And Miss Hutchinson, was it organic ketchup? It was not. What message do you think President Trump was trying to convey to you with the ketchup on the wall? I think the ketchup symbolized the blood that President Trump wanted to be shed at the Capitol that day. And is it true that Trump was also not in the room with you when any of this happened? It is true. Another smoking gun. Could you tell us what happened in the presidential limousine that you were also not in? I remember it vividly. Trump wanted to go to the Capitol, but the Secret Service refused, saying it's unsafe, that they're going to take him back to the West Wing. The president then reached up and grabbed the steering wheel, which I think is a crime. Does President Trump have a valid driver's license? I've never seen it. Then it certainly is a crime. And how did it make you feel when President Trump grabbed the steering wheel? I felt sexually violated. I believe you because you're a woman. Well, also not knowing what a woman is. What do you remember seeing next in the limo that you weren't in? He then used his free hand to lunge at the Secret Service agent, specifically at his clavicle. Ma'am, I'm the agent that was there with the president in the limo, and I am willing to testify under oath that that story is completely fabricated. Sir, please sit down. You weren't there. We're only taking testimony from eyewitnesses.
Stopping it there. Okay, if that's true that this person who wasn't there to actually witness the events is sort of coming up with their own hearsay interpretation ideas of what happened in a limo, but the Secret Service that was in the limo isn't allowed to testify and tell their part of the story, that's fucked up if that's true. That's really fucked up. Anyway, let's continue.
Miss Hutchinson, we have a handwritten note that proves your relevance as a witness. The note says, anyone who entered the Capitol without proper authority should leave immediately. Did you write this note? Yes, I wrote it for the president. I matter. Why is the note written in Eric Hirschman's handwriting? Because sometimes I like to write in his handwriting. Thank you, Miss Hutchinson, for providing this bombshell testimony that's more than enough proof that President Trump instructed the masses of people to storm the Capitol and commit horrible acts of violence during the mostly peaceful insurrection on January 6th. And there you have it, the January 6th Committee's smoking gun testimony. Powerful. That's your proof that Trump committed multiple crimes. Can we get him in jail already? All your descendants will remember the name Kathy Anderson. Cassidy Anderson. Kathy Hutchinsmith? Cassidy Hutchinsmith. Truly a historic day.
I already forgot her name. Look, again, this is gonna go nowhere. Like we all know, I have no doubt that maybe things were said like, oh, it might get crazy on this day, that Trump was sort of whisked away into safety, because the tension and the division that the mainstream media has caused, the wedge in this country, people were on edge that day. So I think a 3-year-old could have predicted that things might get spicy and hot, that people will be outraged and angry, because I believe it was literally only one side that was claiming that they were going to, I don't know, do mostly peaceful protests if Trump won again. It's funny how the mainstream news media like to pick and choose what sort of cause for insurrection or not. You know, telling women and men to go into the streets and go be aggressive and intimidating to the Supreme Justice justices because of the overturning of Roe, or the Great Summer of Love when cities were being burnt down, where there were politicians telling people to take the streets. More people lost their lives, their jobs, and their livelihood than people did on that specific day when people went LARPed into the Capitol. And I'm not trying to minimize the loss that was taken on that day, but it just seems like they like to pick and choose what's good or what's bad. It's the same thing with mass shootings. It's funny when this like literally 24/7 rotation on news media, when a person of a certain race goes into a large area and pew, 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 a bunch of people of a certain race. But when there's drive-bys in mostly black neighborhoods, the news don't really care. What really is defined as a mass shooting? Because drive-bys usually kill multiple people. But I guess is when brown people are killing brown people is fine, because that maybe is part of our culture, you know, just the savages spearing each other. So they don't want to be culturally insensitive, so they don't give a fuck about that. It just goes to show the bias and the integrity of the mainstream news media, and I'm just not really here for it. Anyway, guys, tell me what you think. Have you been following this trial at all? Or you're like me, you're just kind of waiting to hear, I don't know, Tim Poor or Steven Crowder break it down that it was a nothing burger, like we all know it's going to be. Anyway, tell me guys what do you think. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell to get the notifications when I do upload. All of that really does help with the algorithm, guys. And if you'd like to support the channel even further, you can donate. My PayPal and Cash App link is in the description box below and also in the comment section. Of course it helps, but you don't have to. You can just like, comment, and subscribe. Another great way to support this channel is either join my brand new membership program, different levels, different tiers, different perks, or you can visit my brand new merch shop. Links down below, and links to all of the alternate platforms I'm on, my socials, including my Twitter, all the ways to support me and all the ways to contact me for business is always in the links down below. I also have a second travel vlog channel. I travel as a lifestyle. I live abroad. If you'd like to know where I am in the world, you can go to the description box below. Also in the comment section, hit the link, go subscribe to my travel vlog channel, and or follow me on my travel Instagram. My stories is usually what's most up to date, and you guys have an amazing day. Bye!